Alright, pile number 1. If you selected the little chipmunk, here's your reading. Your spirit animal is the golden egg. Alrighty. So we have your body, your mind, and your spirit. Your cat tarot cards are the High Priestess, the Magician, Judgment, the Hanged Man in reverse, the Ten of Pentacles, also in reverse, and then the Star. Alright, well maybe we'll address these later so they don't get cut off from the camera. But basically, see, that's all in view. Okay. So the golden egg kind of made me think of the inner child, and going in and reflecting on the necessities of yourself deep inside, if that makes any sense. It's also, you know, they described it as like the egg is untouched by man. Like maybe the shell itself is touched, but what resides inside is like virtually unscathed by anything. So it's kind of like to ignore, you know, any of the like other people's thoughts or negativity or anything, and to just kind of like look inside of yourself and to see what it is that you need from there, from yourself, and also maybe like inner child work. But yeah, that's kind of the energy I'm getting. Then you have the High Priestess. So it's about listening to your intuition, your inner voice, which is also similar to the golden egg message. And the Magician is a manifester, so it's kind of like Judgment. I feel like maybe you have a dream that you're trying to bring into reality, because the Judgment is your calling, essentially. It's not really something you can ignore. It's essentially your purpose here on Earth. So I see like you have an inner voice telling you like this is your calling, and you're trying to bring it into reality, or maybe you've already started those steps with the Magician over here. It's also interesting that only one of your cards wasn't the Major Arcana. So like this is like a kind of a major life event happening for you. I do see the Hangman in reverse. Sorry about that. Yeah. The Hangman in reverse is kind of like about like not wanting to take a pause. Like maybe you've been ignoring your intuition or this calling, or maybe you haven't taken steps to whatever you feel your calling is, and you're like, oh, I'll do it later. But this is kind of like it's like life forcing you to pay attention to it now, like a situation that's gonna make you pay attention to it now. And I mean, if it hasn't happened already, you know, you still have time to like focus on it. But basically like if you've been ignoring your intuition or your inner voice because you're like, oh, I'll deal with it later, I have too much work right now, what life is gonna do is essentially you know, as an example, injure you so that you can't go back to work. So now you have to focus on whatever it is that you've been ignoring. So that's kind of like a warning, like don't wait until life has to force you to stop and look at it. It could also mean for some of you that you've already been forced to stop for whatever reason, and now you're ready to move on, which is a good situation. I do see financial concerns. So maybe you're a little bit fixated on material matters, like you want to pursue this, but you're concerned with your job, or you want to pursue whatever this is, but you're like, will I have the money to do it? And I mean, the next card is the star card, which essentially is your wish come true. So yeah, that's like, it's basically telling you you're gonna be fine. Like, this is your calling, you know, this is your purpose. So it's kind of like you know, like, life will kind of make it work out in a sense. So all this concern that's material is like, I wouldn't say irrelevant or invalid. It's definitely valid to have concerns about, you know, where your money is gonna come from, but yeah, you could also be getting into arguments with your family about this, but that's a different that's a whole different situation. It's just a message for some of you. So in the body here, so it's kind of like, I don't want you to think of it of like literally your body. I want you to think of it like I guess almost the ego, like your concerns here on earth, then like your mind, and then like your spirit or your soul. And so for your kind of earthly concerns, you received, again, financial matters. So maybe you're really concerned about your financial situation, but the Six of Clubs indicates financial aid. So maybe your family is willing to help you, or maybe you've saved up enough money, or maybe you'll have a business partner. Like, there's someone there that's gonna help you financially. So even though you're kind of worried about it right now, it seems to be fine. And your mind is also very focused on like I'm getting like passion. I don't know what this is. It doesn't necessarily have to be artistic, but yeah, whatever your passion is, like, that's where your mind is all the time. And it could also be like your family. So again, if you're having family problems, your mind might be focused on trying to fix those issues. And then your spirit, I see your spirit being whole, which is very pleasant. The Queen of Hearts is kind of like someone who's emotionally stable, someone who really knows and is comfortable with themselves emotionally. They don't really suppress, you know, things. They know how to process their emotions properly, which is good. So I see like your mind and your spirit are kind of aligned, and then your concerns here on the earth are just kind of like, you're really concerned about money, essentially. So in addition to your golden egg spirit talking to you, you receive the koi fish spirit. There is always enough, okay? And then the groundhog spirit, time to go, time to let go. So yeah, there is always enough. That makes me feel like, you know, they're telling you it's abundant. You don't have to be so concerned about like, where's the money gonna come from? Like, I feel like you're pretty safe. I mean, I don't want you to like rush into anything irrationally, clearly, you know. If you have $0, if you have -$dollars in your bank account, don't be like, okay, well, the money's just gonna come to me. But like, be logical about it, you know. And there's probably people around you who are willing to help you, but at the same time, I feel like that's not even your situation. Like, I just feel like maybe you have a lot of luck financially. Time to let go. So whatever it is that's been stopping you from like getting your dream, getting your calling, I feel like it's time to let that go. And here, I mean, from this reading specifically, it's like your fear of financial, maybe even failure, not necessarily the lack of money, but like if you're thinking about starting a business, like maybe you're scared it won't do well financially. And I just feel like Like, you're good. Don't even trip. It's time to let go of that fear and time to pursue what you want. And then it says, wisdom is light as a feather. And then heed wise counsel. They got an owl and a frog. The wisdom is light as a feather is basically I almost think like maybe you're complicating things. Like you think like, oh no, it can't be that simple. Like I have to have this ready. I have to do this and this. Or it's kind of like, you really don't. Like it's simple. Like just let go of whatever it is that's concerning you, and then move on from there. And heed wise counsel. So if you do, communicate with spirit guides or anything like that, maybe, they're sending you signs, so just be aware of that. But it could also be more literal, like maybe if you are starting a business, just as an example, and you have, an aunt or an uncle who has started a business, like maybe ask them for their wisdom, ask them for their, wise counsel, and also emphasis on wise counsel. So if there's like an older person telling you like, oh, what you're doing is naive, or what you're doing is stupid, like that's just fear-based, that's like jealousy, that's like trash, like pay attention to the things that are like someone who knows what they're talking about. Someone who is trying to pass on their wisdom, not someone who's trying to like restrict you with fears. And then you received the voice in your head that tells you aren't good enough, apparently doesn't know you at all. You're amazing. So these are like emotional support animals. They're called therapets. And they just come with like these cute little quotes. So yeah, maybe you have a lot of negative self-talk, and you're telling yourself like you can't do it, or like because of the financial situation or whatever. But there's a lot of feelings here of like you're not good enough. So it's saying like you are, and stop that self-talk, because it's only stopping you from doing essentially the inevitable, because it kind of is your purpose. You can do the thing. I feel like if dogs could talk English, they would totally talk like that. But yeah, so like whatever it is, that calling, that thing that you're that this reading is talking about, I feel like it's telling you like you can do it. I mean, it's pretty clear right there. So yeah, just remember the spirit animals that are coming in, and maybe look for them in your life. If you don't live near any koi fish, don't expect a koi fish to like appear out of nowhere, but like maybe you'll see someone at the store with a tattoo of a koi fish, like just be aware of that. These are the animals that are supporting you. People have a misconception about spirit animals. They think you can only have one, or they think that there's only like a specific amount that are gonna come to you. Like they just come in and out of your life depending on the message you need at that moment. So like, you don't have to feel connected to any of these, because that's not the point of a spirit animal. They're bringing you a message, so just be aware of that message, and like just keep an eye out for them. Maybe you'll see them in your day-to-day life. I hope that was helpful. I don't want to be a cringy YouTuber saying like and subscribe, but that actually does help, and leaving comments letting me know that I'm not talking to myself would be amazing. Please and thank you, and I hope you have a nice day. On to pile number 2. Hello, pile number 2. If you selected the cat, you didn't see that chipmunk there. This is your reading. So your spirit animal is the crow. Alrighty. Is the 8 of Swords in reverse, the Tower in reverse. Oop. The Knight of Wands in reverse. Alright, so a lot of blocked energy. The sun. That sun, I don't know if you can see, it has like a cat face on it. It reminds me of that creepy like Teletubbies sun with a baby face on it. Not about it. Not about that life. Alright, and then we have your dragon cards, which are the mind, the body, and the spirit. So I'm thinking this is a message about a job or like your career. I don't see any other indicators of like love or romantic relationship or family affairs. These are literally like, by body I mean like your physical, your ego almost, like what you're focused on here on this material plane, and you received the Eight of Clubs, which is basically like trouble at work. There's jealousy at work. You might have even like moved on, and if you haven't, you know, we'll get into that. And then you have your mind. Your mind is focused on business, your job. I do see you having good luck in your job, but I also see movement. So it's kind of like maybe it's time to like move on, or maybe that's what you're focusing on, like wondering if you should move on if you haven't already. And then your spirit's like totally out of alignment right now. You received the Two of Spades. Maybe there was a lot of liars, a lot of gossip happening in your previous workplace that is kind of like jabbed at your, it could be self-esteem, it could be just kind of like your spirit, you know, like not necessarily your soul, but like when you think of someone who's like high-spirited, like I feel like that is kind of just like a sword in your spirit. Like you're kind of bummed out because there was all these shitty people at your job. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting right now. The crow. The crow comes to tell us about wisdom, basically. It's a very mental animal. They said it rules over past, present, and future. It kind of like sees everything. But the thing about the crow is that you can't access its wisdom or its information until you have a clear mind, which I don't think you do. You're kind of like maybe in this haze right now, because I'm gonna read this through the perspective of you haven't moved on yet from this situation. I think it's financial or like, you know, career based. But the Eight of Swords in reverse is basically like you feel trapped. You feel like you can't leave. Like maybe, you know, it's a very good paying job and you feel like if you leave, maybe you won't find another job that pays you as well. Or maybe you've, you know, put a lot of work in. It's funny because this is a tree, but when it's in reverse, it looks like roots. It looks like this is the ground and there's roots in, I don't know if you guys can see that because it's so freaking tiny. They look like roots when it's in reverse. So it's kind of like maybe you've planted your roots here, you know, maybe you climbed up the ladder a little bit, and now that it's time to like move on, you feel like you can't or you don't want to because you've invested so much into this position. However, you do receive the Tower in reverse. The Tower is about like a situation that falls apart because it got started on a rocky foundation. I don't necessarily know if that's the message for you, just because you have like the roots here make me think like a very good foundation. I just feel like eventually as you moved up there was like swords or problems that came along with it. But the Tower in reverse is about, it could be inner turmoil, inner chaos, like a lot of the stuff that's happening again, like just kind of like, I know they're spades, but in my head I see like swords. So kind of like swords in your spirit. I see like it's just not a good mental situation for you. But also the tower in reverse comes to us when we avert disaster. So, you know, I feel like if you stay in this situation, you're just gonna keep dealing with more garbage, more swords, versus, you know, leaving where you would avert disaster, even though you feel like you can't leave for whatever reason. You do receive the Knight of Wands in reverse, so it's asking you not to be impulsive. Like, if you need to bide your time, if you need to save money, you know, do what you need to. Don't be impulsive. You know, if you're getting paid freaking, I don't know, $30 an hour, don't, maybe, you know, and you're living a life, you're renting places that are, you know, the budget of someone on $30 an hour, maybe don't go to a job that pays 12. Like, don't be irrational just because you want to run off, you want to get away from the situation. Like, take your time if you need to, but eventually I just see you like needing to get away. And this image is so funny because it's literally a cat on a fox. It's like, a cat can run pretty fast, but it's still like, I can't, like, I need to go even faster than that, you know what I mean? It literally like hijacked a fox to get the fuck out of here because it's like not having this. So it's kind of like, yes, get out of here as quickly as you can, but don't be impulsive about that decision either. And then immediately after I see the sun, I know I was talking smack about how it reminds me of a creepy baby sun, but the sun is like probably the most positive card you can get. It's literally happiness, joy, inner child. It's like, it's almost, look at this, like, it's like swords, feeling like you can't escape, feeling like you're trapped, and this cat is like freaking falling off a building and screaming, and then this cat's trying to get the fuck out of the situation, and this cat's just like, just vibing, she's just chilling. So it's kind of like, literally, like, as soon as you leave, you're gonna have a good time. You're gonna be very happy with your decision, and I would say this is also confirmed by the Queen of Wands in reverse, which is the working mother. So I feel like maybe right now you don't have as much time for your home life or your love life, you know, your personal life, or maybe like your trouble at work is causing strain between, you know, your personal life, because there's things, like if you get stressed out at work, you bring it home. But I feel like once you move on, the Queen of Pentacles is literally like the working mother. It's like the woman, you don't have to be a woman, but it's the energy of a person who is on top of their shit, basically at work and at home. And yeah, so I see you being like very happy, very balanced, which is nice. And then I do see like you almost feel overwhelmed with options, which is not a bad thing, you know, like it's good that you have options, but I also feel like you kind of have like this almost confusion, like a fog about like you don't know which step you should take in order to get away from the situation. So when this card comes up, it's basically telling you to like really take a step back, you know, meditate if that's what you do, really analyze the situation, to like really think long and hard about what it is that you want, and do the process of elimination if you need to, like, you know, pros and cons list to, you know, just basically trying to figure out like what it is that you really want, because you don't want to be impulsive. You don't want to go for the first shiny object that gets flashed in your face, because then you're just going to end up in another situation like this. So just really think about it, and I feel like you're going to make the right choice. Like, you will if you really sit down, and again, like, the crow can help you see, like, the past, the present, and the future clearly, but you have to have a clear mind. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, a little cloudy-minded, hectic, just take the time to, like, really contemplate what it is that you want, or what is gonna help you the best. If if you're like a witch, or if you're a medium, if you meditate with animals, consider calling upon the crow spirit. I know that sounds weird for like outsiders, but that's totally a thing. These animals, people think that, oh, I have a spirit animal and that's the only animal that I'm gonna have for the rest of my life, and that's not true. Like, they come in and out of our lives the way spirit guides do, to kind of like give us a message sometimes. So if you do see a lot of crows coming out, maybe like that was a message, or like wolves or stags. Like, try to look for these animals in your day-to-day life. And if you don't live, like anywhere where you would ever see a wolf, like, don't take it so literal. Like, maybe you'll watch a cartoon one day and you'll see a wolf on there. Or maybe you'll see someone with a tattoo with a raccoon on it. Like, you don't have to live near these animals. Okay. So, you got 2 stags, which is super cool. I don't know if you can see them. Let me try to get them in frame. Yeah, you got 2 stags. So your first stag is telling you to take the lead. Maybe, you are a leader. Like I was saying, you were climbing the ladder kind of in your previous job, and you've established roots there. So like, maybe don't start at the bottom. Try to apply for other, like, positions of leadership. I also get I don't know, I got like a feeling almost like once you quit your job, like other people are also going to do that. Like, maybe you're not the only one who feels like this is a shitty situation. Yeah, so take the lead on that. You have the wolf spirit, turn knowledge into wisdom. So, take what you've learned from your previous job, even if it was a crappy situation, and like just try to make it look as best as possible. Just as a practical tip, don't talk badly about your previous employer. In case you don't know that, just don't do it. No matter how crappy they were, like, don't. It looks bad. But yeah, so just try to turn a shitty situation into the best as possible, and turn what you've learned into basically a wisdom. But like, even if you weren't in a position of leadership before, like, maybe what you've learned has prepared you for, positions of leadership. So kind of like flip the script on that one. I also I visualize, like, when you're writing a resume, instead of saying, like, just as an example, right? Don't say I took out the trash. Say, like, I helped maintain a sanitary and up to health code environment, etc., etc. Like, make it fancy. Like, turn the knowledge into like something that sounds fancy. Like, that sounds wise. I don't know if that makes any sense, but yeah. Then you receive the raccoon, a safe place for you to go. So I feel like, and then also life is sweet. Once you escape this situation, like, you do have a safe place to go. You will have a better job opportunity. You will have, maybe you have somewhere right now where you can just kind of take a rest until you find, like, if this work environment is super toxic, like, maybe you can, have someone help you financially until you can find a better job. I don't think that's necessarily the situation, but just like maybe vent to someone who is a safe space. Like, I feel like you're gonna have a safe space to go, whether that's like literal or figurative. And then life is sweet. So like right now, maybe you're focused on like all the shitty parts of life. But like once you kind of step away from this toxic environment, you can kind of clearly see things mentally from like the past, present, or future. And you will see that like life is beautiful, it is nice. You just were kind of in a toxic place. And then Cuttlefish, which says, trying your best is all that matters, the rest will fall into place. So maybe you feel, I get that, these are called therapets, by the way, in case you're interested in these are so cute. I get the feeling that like maybe you're being hard on yourself, like in your mind, a lot of negative self-talk, and it's like maybe your best one day doesn't look the same as your best the next day, if that makes sense. Like maybe you could do a lot this one day, but then the next day you're so mentally exhausted, like you can only do this much. Like don't be hard on yourself for, you know, because you didn't finish as much as you did the day before. Like if you're doing your best, that's all that matters. And then life will bend you, but trust me, you are too strong to break. So right now you're being kind of like tested. I'm not sorry, I just got like too much things going on in my mind, and I'm like, I don't know how to put this into words. But essentially, yeah, like you're gonna be fine, you're not gonna break. So I wonder if the stag is an animal for you. And maybe start looking into seeing if you know, spot a stag somewhere in your life, because like maybe that's an animal that's trying to communicate more messages to you. But anyway, yeah, I hope that was helpful. You know, comment, like, subscribe, etc. Clout. It's nice knowing I'm not talking to myself, basically, but do whatever you feel the need to. Yeah, I hope that was helpful. Bye, pile 3. Hello, pile number 3. If you selected the little sheep, you did not see the cat there. Great. This is your reading. So your animal is the crocodile. It's okay if you don't feel connected to the crocodile as an animal. Excuse me. People think that you can only have like one spirit animal. That's not true. In fact, animals will come in and out of our lives to give us messages for certain times of our lives. You know, they all have different meanings and different symbolisms. So when an animal comes to you, don't be judgmental. Don't be like, I don't like the way a crocodile looks, or like, you know, it's not about what you like. It's a message that's here for you. So try to take that in without judgment, and hopefully you'll find some use in it. So right now we have a little double dragon boys, which is the mind, body, and the spirit. I see a lot of, it's backwards, sorry, the body, the mind, and the spirit, and by body I don't mean your physical body, but it could. It's more of like your ego, or like what you're dealing with here on this plane. And I see a lot of nervousness, maybe even jealousy, but there's a lot of like holding your feelings in, not properly dealing with your emotional distress, your mind. You're still I see you still being a loving person. I don't see you like being toxic or like taking it out on someone in a negative way. I just feel like you're still pretty loving in your mental state, and it could also mean like you have either a loved one, like a romantic partner, or a family member like on your mind right now, and then your spirit is kind of embodying like this energy of maybe materialism. It could also be like the messenger. We'll get into that. So the crocodile spirit comes to us when we need to retreat. Not necessarily, sitting on your butt waiting for your problems to go away, but kind of like stepping back from a situation that has happened. It could have been like very emotionally distressing. And the water is a very like healing, element. So it's kind of like taking, when I think of the crocodile, it could be in the land, but it goes into the water, it retreats. So it's kind of like you need to get away from the land and you need to retreat into the water and kind of restore your energy, if that makes sense. You have the devil, which is kind of like an addiction. It could be, overeating. It could be, maybe you're a sex addict, depending on your situation. But with the next card over, it almost seems like you're I want to say like a shopaholic. Like you're kind of like spending money as a way to distract from your emotional stress. Like you suppress your emotions, you don't deal with whatever your problems are, and then like in an attempt to ignore them, you shop. Like you treat yourself, you buy yourself things, and like maybe you're shopping and you're buying like a lot of food. Like that could be like a layered addiction. It could also be like it's just like instead of doing the emotional, the shadow work, the serious reflection on what it is that's bothering you, or like talking about your problems to whoever it is you have a problem with, you just buy something as like immediate gratification. But then the thing about doing that is like eventually the thing you purchased will kind of lose its charm, and then you just go and buy something else instead of like actually dealing with whatever it is you're suppressing. So the crocodile spirit is like telling you kind of like stop and then retreat. Like really take a look at your emotional state. You need to heal that right now. It's also causing you anxiety. It's causing like your body anxiety. I see you're just like holding your feelings in. I see like it causing stress. It's weird. You have the 5 of Swords, which is an argument. Maybe you got into an argument with a loved one, because over here I see issues in the home. So it could also be okay, so that has a double meaning. So we'll address the first meaning, which is issues at home. You got into an argument with someone, and maybe that's why they're on your mind. Like that's kind of what you're thinking of, and that's why your spirit is focused on like materialism right now, because it's like kind of out of line. You're just you're not dealing with what's going on in your mind, and so it gets taken out in this way. But also the 4 of Wands in reverse can indicate a small victory, so like take baby steps. Like maybe this is a lot of emotional baggage or trauma, and like you don't have to solve it all in one day. Kind of take it one step at a time, or also baby steps away from this addiction. So like if you are shopping a lot, like maybe kind of like today I didn't buy a coffee. I know that sounds lame, but like celebrate the small steps that it took, because then eventually you'll like build up, and you kind of see even this. It's funny that it's like layered. Like all his baby steps got him to the top. So don't forget to celebrate the little victories, because they will ultimately lead you to being like the emperor. The emperor energy is very like just a person on top of their shit, basically. You received the antelope spirit. Life is speeding up. And the buffalo spirit. The abundant universe will provide. This seems like a very specific message, but just in case, you know, it's relevant to someone out there, I'm gonna say it. It's kind of like maybe you grew up poor, and so now that you have money, you kind of like spend it on all these things you don't need, out of fear that like one day you won't have money, or like out of fear that, you know, if you don't get that shirt right now, like that shirt is not gonna be there tomorrow or something. Like it's kind of saying like the universe is abundant, like chill, if you don't get that shirt, you'll just get a cooler shirt, you know what I mean? Not necessarily like literally talking about a shirt, but I'm sure you get what I'm saying. And life is speeding up, so I feel like maybe you'll heal very quickly, or maybe I'm not sure about that one. Hold on, we'll come back to it. An elder will teach you, take care of yourself. Yeah, so the crocodile spirit is telling you to take care of yourself emotionally. You might even seek wisdom in someone else, because it's funny, I get 2 jacks, and jacks are like young people. You don't necessarily have to be young or like whatever. It's just saying like maybe even like there's some immaturity happening here, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of like ask for advice from someone else, and maybe they'll I feel like maybe you'll find good advice about how to deal with whatever the situation is that caused you conflict in your home. You'll probably learn to deal with that well. Take care of yourself. So these are Therapets, super cute. The first one is telling you need to give yourself time to heal. So again, okay, the crocodile spirit is really adamant. The other, I don't know, I feel like the other ones were kind of, they had a lot of messages, but this one's kind of like driving this one home. It's like you don't need other things, you need to focus on giving yourself time to heal, no matter how long that ends up being. So again, like maybe you need to take baby steps. Like don't focus on like how much more you have to do, or don't feel like with this animal, like you, I don't know, maybe life is you know, speeding up around you, and you feel like you have to hurry up and heal so that you can keep going, and it's like you don't rush the process of healing. That's not how that works. So it's kind of telling you to like not freak out about that, I guess. Like anxiety, bro, I'm telling you. Okay, so like yeah, you're getting anxiety here. There is no doom incoming, and you're managing everything just fine. So yeah, I don't know why you, maybe you even got anxiety when you saw the devil card. You're just like, what, the devil? But yeah, there's a lot of like, the anxiety is caused by the feelings that you're repressing, and it's like almost being taken out on your body. Like it's getting to the point where like it's affecting your body. You know when something becomes like mental and it just kind of stays there and it bothers you all day, but like now it's causing you like physical issues. So it's time to retreat, essentially. And don't worry about how fast life is going, or you know, if someone else went through something similar, especially if you're asking them for their advice, don't compare your situation or how fast they healed to how fast you're healing. It's kind of like everyone has their own speed at which they go, and you know, nothing's coming if you don't fix it fast enough. You know, nothing's gonna escape you if you don't, you know, like life's abundant, it'll be there, chill. So I don't know, let me know, you know, if this is helpful in the comments. It's nice to know I'm not talking to myself. And maybe look out for the crocodile in your life if you don't live near crocodiles, which you probably don't. You know, look for tattoos, look for images on billboards, look for other forms in which the spirit may call itself to you. Yeah, so I hope that was helpful, and have a nice day.